Burnt ozone, hydraulic oil, scorched alloy. Those were normal, expected, the scent of every certification trial across the Kronar defense complex. But fear was different. Fear was biological, sharp, metallic. It crept into the air only when something had gone terribly wrong. Cadet Mara Keene stood at the center of Trial Chamber 9, shoulders rising and falling in slow, controlled breaths. Her knuckles were bruised. One sleeve of her regulation suit was torn. Otherwise, she looked fine. That was the problem. Around her, 12 armored instructors lay scattered across the arena floor. Not piled, not crushed, placed. Each body rested where momentum had ended, armor dented, weapons dropped, limbs slack. No warning lights, no fatal alarms, just silence and the faint hum of the arena's power field struggling to stabilize. High above, behind reinforced observation glass, Examiner Prime, Warlord, stared down at the scene without blinking. "Begin assessment," someone whispered behind him. Vec didn't answer. His eyes were fixed on the status board. 12 instructor vitals, all active, all unconscious. That wasn't supposed to happen. The intercom clicked on automatically, filling the arena with static. "Candidate Keene," Vex said, voice carefully neutral. "You have failed the combat trial." Mara looked up slowly. The lights were bright. Too bright. She squinted, raised a hand to block the glare. "I'm sorry," she said. "Failed?" "You were instructed to demonstrate defensive evasion against 3 opponents for a duration of 5 minutes. She glanced to her left, then right, then behind her. Did I miss the part where they stopped coming? A ripple moved through the observation gallery. Analysts leaned forward. A junior officer checked the replay feed again, as if the footage might change if watched harder. Vex swallowed. "You exceeded trial parameters." Mara let out a quiet breath. Not relief. Something else. "Right," she said softly. From the far side of the arena, something scraped against metal. Instructor Rel Taron, veteran of 8 frontier suppressions, twitched. His fingers curled. His helmet knocked once against the floor. The sound echoed. Mara turned her head slightly. "Oh," she said. "He's waking up." The gallery erupted into motion. Vitals spiked. Medical teams surged forward, then hesitated, unsure whether approaching the human was wise. Vec's voice cracked through the intercom again. "Correction," he said. 11 instructors are incapacitated. 1 is recovering." Mara rested her hands on her hips and looked back up at the class. "So," she said evenly, surrounded by bodies that had tried to subdue her. "Do I get feedback now? Or after everyone stops pretending this is normal?" Above her, Examiner Prime Oral Vec finally understood the truth. The trial hadn't failed. It had revealed something they were not prepared to classify. The silence after Mara spoke was worse than the fighting. Examiner Prime Oral Vec did not immediately respond. He couldn't. His secondary hearts were racing and his mandibles had begun clicking. An involuntary stress response he hadn't experienced since his first battlefield assignment. "Medical teams, stand by," he finally ordered, then hesitated. "Do not enter the arena yet." The order made no sense. Medical protocol demanded immediate intervention, but instinct overruled doctrine. Below, Mara Keene shifted her weight slightly, rolling tension out of her shoulders. Every movement was controlled, deliberate. Nothing like the wild, panicked thrashing Vec had expected from a candidate who had supposedly lost control. You exceeded parameters, Vec repeated, weaker this time. Mara looked genuinely confused. I stayed inside the arena. I didn't use weapons. I didn't pursue anyone who disengaged. She gestured to the bodies. They kept engaging. The replay screens lit up again, frame by frame. Instructor Halrex initiating contact. Mara pivoting, no wasted motion. Instructor airborne. Instructor Vale advancing more cautiously. Mara closing distance instead of retreating. Instructor door charging with all four arms extended. The analysts slowed it further. Mara didn't strike first. She redirected. Momentum became weapon. Balance became liability. She never attacks, a junior analyst whispered. She only finishes. That word hung in the air. On the arena floor, Instructor Rel finally managed to sit up. His helmet was cracked. His breathing was shallow. He stared at Mara like she was an unexploded device. Why didn't you kill us? He rasped. Mara turned toward him slowly. Because you stopped being a threat, she said simply. The gallery went still. Vec felt something cold settle into his chest. That answer wasn't bravado. It wasn't cruelty. It was doctrine. Hours later, the instructors were alive, bruised, furious, and shaken. Mara sat alone in the briefing chamber, Delta 6, hands folded neatly in her lap. A transparent field separated her from Examiner Prime Vec and a semicircle of senior officers. You have no military combat record, Vec said. No, sir. No enhanced physiology. No, sir. No neural combat implants. No. Vec leaned forward. Then explain how you incapacitated 12 certified Kronar instructors without lethal force. Mara hesitated. I watched, she said. The officers exchanged glances. Watched what? Fights, tutorials, matches, breakdowns. Humans record everything. She shrugged slightly. You can pause, rewind, learn mistakes without making them. That is not combat experience. No, Mara agreed. It's pattern recognition. Vec's claws tightened. You understood our tactics immediately. You telegraph intent, she said without malice. Your species commits fully. Humans hedge. That word unsettled them. Hedge. We assume we might be wrong. Silence. Your instructors fight to win, Mara continued. Humans fight to survive first. Winning is optional. Vec realized then what terrified him most. She wasn't special. She was typical. The ruling came fast, too fast. Regulations scrolled across the chamber as junior analysts searched desperately for a clause that didn't exist. There is no maximum, one whispered. Only minimums, another said. Instructor Sarex, ribs wrapped and pride intact, spoke up. She showed restraint, control, awareness. She could have killed us. Vec exhaled slowly. Candidate Mara Keene, he announced. You are certified. Relief flashed across her face. Kuh. With immediate reassignment, her relief vanished. You are no longer suitable for standard deployment. Mara frowned. That sounds bad. It is, Vex said honestly. For us. The footage leaked within hours. First to military channels, then defense academies, then civilian networks. Titles spread. The quiet human, the one who didn't strike first. The trial that ended early. Alien forums debated endlessly. How could a soft-skinned species dismantle trained predators? The answer unsettled everyone. They adapted faster. The Galactic Council issued a silent update. Humanity, strategic variable, unbounded. Mara never saw the document. She was already on a transport ship, destination classified. Ambassador Ithral Morn didn't want a human. He wanted reassurance. What he got was Mara Keene, standing quietly beside him as they approached Kartal Station, stronghold of a species that respected only dominance. They test weakness immediately, Ithral warned. Mara nodded. Then, don't show any. That's easy for you to say. She smiled faintly. I won't do anything. That terrified him more than violence. The Kartal Warlord, Vorek Thane, was enormous. 9 feet of muscle, scars, and authority. His warriors bristled when they saw the human. She is small, Vorek said. Yes, Ithral agreed carefully. She will die if challenged. Mara met Vorek's gaze, did not flinch, did not smile, did not move. One warrior shifted forward instinctively, then stopped. His body refused. Predator instinct screamed. No. Vorek noticed, slowly. His expression changed. They say you defeated 12 instructors, Vorek said. Yes, Mara replied. Why are you still alive? Because they stopped. The Warlord studied her for a long moment. Then he laughed. A deep, thunderous sound. You are dangerous, he said. Not because you fight, but because you decide when not to. He turned to Ithral. We will hear your terms. Just like that. No challenge, no blood. The Kartal chose diplomacy. Later, alone on the station's observation deck, Ithral finally asked, What would you have done if they attacked? Mara watched the stars drift past. I would have defended myself. And after? She was quiet for a long time. Then, she said softly, they would have learned why everyone else stopped moving. The galaxy would remember that moment, not as the day humans conquered, but as the day every predator learned. Stillness was sometimes survival. The treaty was signed without celebration. No music, no ceremonial weapons, no victory feast, just signatures, biometric seals, and a quiet acknowledgement that something fundamental had shifted. Ambassador Ithral Mon stood beside the Kartal Warlord as the final authorization glyph burned itself into the air between them. Vorek Thane did not smile. He did not posture. He simply inclined his massive head once. Respect without submission. You will have passage through our territory, Vorek said. Your trade convoys will not be tested. Ithral exhaled slowly. We appreciate. And, Vorek continued, eyes never leaving Mara, your species will not be hunted. That sentence mattered more than the rest of the treaty combined. Mara Keene stood 3 steps behind the ambassador, hands relaxed at her sides, posture neutral. She had not spoken once during the negotiations. She hadn't needed to. The cartel had watched her instead. Watched how she stood without tension. How she never shifted her weight defensively. How she never scanned for threats. Predators noticed when someone didn't need to. When the delegation finally departed, Ithril didn't speak until the shuttle cleared the station's gravity well. "Do you know," he said quietly, "that no cartel warrior challenged us? Not even symbolically." Mara nodded. "They already decided." "Decided what?" "That fighting me would cost more than it was worth." Ithril turned to her slowly. "You never threatened them." "No," she agreed. "I let them imagine." Back on Kronar Prime, Examiner Prime Oral Vec received the final report. He read it twice, then a third time. The conclusions were uncomfortable. Humans were not the strongest species. They were not the fastest. They were not the most durable. They were the quickest to learn, the quickest to adapt, and, most dangerously, the quickest to understand restraint. A galaxy built on dominance had encountered a species that fought only when necessary and stopped exactly when it wasn't. Vex submitted his final recommendation to the Council. All future human combat trials suspended. Human personnel to be deployed only in advisory, deterrent, or strategic presence roles. Direct confrontation strongly discouraged. The Council approved it unanimously. Weeks later, Mara returned to Trial Chamber 9. The arena had been repaired. New flooring, thicker walls, upgraded safety fields. A new class of candidates waited nervously at the edge. An instructor gestured toward the center. "Cadet Keene," he said carefully, "would you demonstrate defensive positioning?" Mara stepped forward, stopped, looked around. "No," she said gently. "You don't need that lesson." The instructor frowned. "Then what should we teach them?" Mara met the eyes of the watching candidates. Predators, soldiers, beings bred for violence. "Teach them," she said, "how to recognize the moment when the fight is already over." No one moved. And for the first time in galactic history, that stillness wasn't fear. It was understanding.